Masafumi Nagasaki, the Hermit of Sotobanari, is a figure shrouded in mystery. This man embraced solitude by living alone on a deserted island for nearly 3 decades. That's half of a typical human lifespan, spent in isolation. His unusual lifestyle, far removed from the trappings of modern civilization, paints a picture that is hard to comprehend for most people. No people, no internet, no fresh water, and no clothes. But what if this way of life is exactly what Nagasaki desired? Masafumi Nagasaki was not always the solitary hermit, living in absolute isolation in nature. His journey to Sotobanari was a radical departure from an earlier life spent in the hustle and bustle of society. Imagine the drastic change from working as a photographer, capturing the vibrant hues of life through a lens, to choosing a life of solitude, far removed from civilization. This decision was not imposed, but rather a choice made by Nagasaki. Before his self-imposed exile, Nagasaki found himself growing increasingly frustrated with the societal norms and conventions in his 50s. He wanted a break from the restrictions of modern society. He was so frustrated that he didn't even think of his family. Leaving behind his wife and 2 rumored children in 1989, he moved to Sotobanari, a densely vegetated, unpopulated 1-kilometer-wide islet with no fresh water hundreds of kilometers south of Japan's mainland. Yes, you heard that right. No fresh water, no electricity, and no human beings. There, Nagasaki could finally live out his dream of being free from the constraints of modern society. There are several exciting things about Sotobanari, but the dress code holds our attention. The dress code was very simple. Nothing. Imagine living on an island almost half your life without ever wearing clothes. When you are the only human inhabitant on an island, the dress code probably doesn't seem to make much of a difference. But still, it seems uncomfortable. Nagasaki also used to be uncomfortable with this. For the first year he lived in Sotobanari, he threw on clothes whenever boats passed his way. But as time passed, the island and its solitude started to strip away his embarrassment. The remote island became a catalyst for Nagasaki's transformation. The need for clothing gradually faded. His initial self-consciousness about nudity dissipated, replaced by a liberating sense of freedom. But Nagasaki's story is not just about his unconventional way of life. It raises deeper questions about the human desire for connection, belonging, and purpose. What would make a person leave behind everything they know and choose to live in extreme isolation? Even though he was alone, Nagasaki had his unique routines. His diet was simple, consisting mostly of rice cakes, which he would boil in water whenever he felt hungry. Can you imagine sometimes he consumed these as frequently as 4 or 5 times a day? His source of water was not a river or a spring, but the sky itself. Rainwater, carefully collected in worn-out cooking pots, served his bathing and shaving needs. Just picture this. Each of his days began not with the hustle of an alarm clock, but with the peaceful stretches on the sun-kissed beach. Isn't that a dream start to a day for most of us? Yet, this serenity was not all that defined his lifestyle. The bulk of his day was a race against the setting sun, as he used to be busy with preparing food and cleaning his camp, all before the night fell and the insects emerged to bite. So, was this the healthiest way to live? Even Nagasaki conceded it wasn't. But then, why did he decide to spend the better half of his life on this island? Nagasaki wanted to find a significant location where he could meet his end, and he thought that this island was the appropriate place for him. But sadly, his wish to spend his final days on Sotobanari never came true. In 2018, at the age of 82, Nagasaki was forced to leave the island and move into a government-provided shelter due to failing health. He was given a bedroom, along with a modest stipend to help cover his basic requirements, a gesture that, while small, aimed to provide some level of comfort. Yet, these efforts could not make up for his social isolation due to the pandemic. After decades of solitude on Sotobanari, Nagasaki found himself once again isolated. This time it was not by choice, but by the confines of the pandemic. As a time-passing activity, Nagasaki would often collect trash washed ashore by the sea currents. It was a simple task, yet one that was deeply symbolic of his connection to the environment and his disdain for the pollution created by city inhabitants. This man, who had chosen to live in harmony with nature, was confronting the harsh reality of the world's plastic problem. Even in his remote island sanctuary, the unfortunate twist in this tale is that despite being surrounded by society, Nagasaki struggled to form connections and friendships, much as he had while living on his deserted island. But recently, this old man went back to Sotobanari. This occasion marked an emotional reunion, allowing him to bid a final farewell to the land where he had lived in undisturbed solitude for so many years. The sight of the familiar shoreline stirred deep emotions within Nagasaki, prompting him to lift his hands high above his head in a salute of respect and nostalgia. His laughter echoed across the landscape, a testament to the joy he found in his return. This expression of happiness was an unparalleled demonstration of his sense of liberation and connection to the island. After this visit, Nagasaki made his return journey to Ishigaki, Japan. He currently resides there in a room subsidized by the government. Overall, it seemed that Nagasaki found a sense of closure in his final visit to Sotobanari. He was satisfied to have had the opportunity to bid farewell to his island. Perhaps a few years from now, if he still desires to spend his last days on Sotobanari Island and feels his time is right and he is ready to depart this world, he should be given proper help. He has been the longest-lasting voluntary castaway in history, spending around 3 decades alone on the island. So, what can we learn from Nagasaki's unconventional lifestyle and his quest for solitude? Perhaps it is a reminder to slow down and appreciate the simple things in life, to live with purpose, and find joy in our daily routines, even if they may seem mundane. And most importantly, to cherish our connections with others and never take them for granted. If you enjoyed the video, give it a big thumbs up and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Also, let us know in the comments if you want to see more videos on similar topics. You can also check our previous video on the Camp David Accords. Goodbye until next time.